What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and welcome to another day of the 12 rebuilds of Christmas. I believe this is now day number 4, and we're doing a retro rebuild. We are taking over one of the worst teams in Madden history, in NFL history, and it is the 2009 LA. Well, I guess now they're the LA. 2009 St. Louis Rams went 1-15. This is the year they went 1-15 and ended up drafting Sam Bradford in the 2010 NFL Draft. And the 2010 NFL Draft debatably is one of the best drafts of all time. That's a draft that had, obviously Sam Bradford went first to the Rams, but it had Ndamukong Suh, Gerald McCoy, Trent Williams, Eric Berry, Joe Hayden, Earl Thomas, JPP, Brandon Graham. You got Demaryius Thomas, Des Bryant, Devin McCourty, Rob Gronkowski, Sean Lee, Carlos Dunlap, Golden Tate, Emmanuel Sanders, Navarro Bowman, Jimmy Graham, Everson Griffin, Geno Atkins, Cam Chancellor, Rashad Jones, and Antonio Brown. Just to name a few. I think in undrafted, you had Victor Cruz, Sam Shields as well, some big names. So we're going to do it. I figure this is the prime time to do it. The only bad thing about Madden 10 is you can't modify the ratings, which I guess keeps you honest, but I can modify the names. So how we're going to do it, usually, like for example, wherever I finish with the Rams, I'd be like, all right, let's go, get Ndamukong Suh, let's draft a D tackle. Usually I try to modify it, make him look like a good prospect in this scenario in a retro rebuild. So now it's going to keep us honest. So it's going to be a little bit different. Usually we try to keep, it's almost like a redraft format, if you will. So obviously Antonio Brown went in the 5th round, but say, if we were doing this and we could, get a stud wide receiver in the 1st round, you clearly would make that Antonio Brown. How I'm going to do it because I can't modify the ratings, I feel like I should reward myself for drafting particularly well if I do that. So if I draft particularly well, if I get a 3rd round wide receiver that's, a 76, 77 overall, I better believe I'm making that Antonio Brown. But to get to that point, we have to do our job scouting. And, I don't know what the Rams are going to go. Hopefully we don't go 1-15. Then again, I wouldn't mind having that 1st overall pick. Like I said, if I can get a good wide receiver. Like right now, it's toss-up. I think Ndamukong Suh, Rob Gronkowski, Earl Thomas, and Antonio Brown. Those would be the big 4 that I'm going to be trying to land to this team. But we might as well look at our base roster real quick. At quarterback, we have Mark Bulger. Yikes. At running back, we see Steven Jackson. These are 3-year rebuilds. That Steven Jackson, he's going to be fine. He's really one of the more underrated backs in the last, the 2000s, if you will. No wide receivers. Absolutely nothing at wide. Randy McMichael, geez. Offensive line's not terrible. We have Jacob Bell, who's at 86 overall. We have at center Jason Brown from UNC, 90. So that is very good. Richie Incognito. Okay, let's go. Right tackle, we have Jason Smith from Baylor, who ended up being a massive bust, but he's an 84 overall rookie. So we're going to go with the assumption that he will be able to develop into a nice right tackle. The defensive side, you got Chris Long, who should continue to develop as he's only in his 2nd season. D tackle, Adam Carricker is also very serviceable. We got Will Witherspoon for a veteran presence. We got James Laurinaitis, who hopefully will develop to the similar career path that he did in regular Madden, where I think he was like a perennial 85 plus after this game. Need a linebacker help. At corner, we got Ronald Bartel, 81 overall. It's nothing to... Oh, Bradley Fletcher. Free safety, OJ Atogwe, Canadian boy, 90 overall. So hopefully we can hold on to him. Safety, we have James Butler here, 80. This team's not terrible. There are some pieces in place. But if we can land any of those dudes, as I mentioned at the top from the 2010 draft, we will try to do that. So we'll pop in at season's end and see where we are at with this, hopefully not repeating 1-15 St. Louis Rams team. Alright, so at the end of the season, we finished with a 4-11 record. That is good for, we're picking 6, so it's not nearly as juicy as the 1-15 Rams. We get the pick at number 1 overall, but we have scouted quite a few good players that I feel confident. We're going to bring in some big names here to the Rams. So let's look at our season stats. Stu actually might have performed on this team. We'll start with the old QB there, Mark Bulger. Ooh, that's not horrible, but 21 picks is not great. Good year for Steven Jackson. Outside of touchdowns, anytime you get fringe 1,300 yards is not a bad thing, but obviously 2 touchdowns could have been better, but the offense struggled as a whole. Donnie Avery almost finished with 1,000 yards. We got Laurent Robinson with 10 TDs on the season. Okay, sure, why not? As far as defense is concerned, James Laurinaitis 115 tackles, 19 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. That's an incredible season. That's a big-time year. Leonard Little got 9.5 sacks, 8 from Chris Long, and we got 4 picks from O.J. Atogwe, 3 from Butler, 3 from Witherspoon, 2 from Todd Johnson. I was thinking, is that Trumaine Johnson already? But he's not that old. So that being said, it's time to pop into the offseason, see what kind of moves we can make. Like I said, we're a little bit rushed. It's a 3-year rebuild, but I'm very optimistic that we'll land some big-time guys, at least in the draft. So at least there's one consistent throughout all of our rebuilds. That is the year 1 free agents are always terrible. So we're trying to bring back Leonard Little and bring in L.J. Smith. Other than that, there's Darren Sproles. That's about it. So we really need to get a corner and improve our linebacking core. But there's literally nothing there in this wire. But the good thing is, moving forward, we are going to have quite a bit of free agency money to spend, which is going to be very key. But hopefully we can land these 2 guys and continue on and hit on some picks in the draft. I guess it doesn't matter what Madden I am in. I am a draft god. Our 6th round pick, Profit, a 74 linebacker. Our 1st round pick was Afrani Scar, an 80 overall wide receiver as a rookie. We got Casey Kiner in the 4th round, 77 overall corner. We got Justin Clark, he was projected to go undrafted, 7th round QB, 74 overall. This was only our bad pick there with Green. We got D tackle Josh Cable, 77, and Camelo, 76. These guys are all studs. All right, I remember it's like it's like the graph, the little like bar graph that tells you what they're overall, and we dominated these guys here. We literally got stud after stud after stud. So you're gonna see plenty of big time names that came out of the 2010 draft as real prospects, just making our team, because straight up, like, I saw like half the teams didn't even get guys over 77. We got like 3 or 4 of these dudes. So we are going in. We'll come right back in 2 seconds once I get these guys sorted out. Alright, so you can't modify height and weight, which kind of put back me in a corner, because, like, for example, our wide receiver was sick. I was going to make it Antonio Brown, but he's 6'3", and I can't modify it. So what I did was, when applicable, I tried to fit them in. Like, most of these guys were top 3, top 5 of their position in that draft class. So I'm not being OP by making them the studs you're about to see, because I just drafted really, really well. I don't know if that's going to be the case every single year, but for year 1, I am going to take it. So we left the quarterback as is, because the 2010 draft class was horrendous for QBs. At the wide receiver spot, we made our wide receiver Demaryius Thomas from Georgia Tech, 80 overall. A little bit off on the weight, but overall, Demaryius Thomas was one of the top, if not, after Antonio Brown. When you look at it, he was 1st round pick by the Denver Broncos. And when you look at 1st round wide receivers, Demaryius Thomas, Dez Bryant, it's pretty much razor thin. And obviously, you knew I was going with Demaryius. Plus, it's a little bit more suited. That's pretty close to what I think Demaryius Thomas is like 6'3", 215 when he got drafted. So we will take that. We also had a defensive end here who we selected in the 3rd round. So we made him Everson Griffin from USC. Everson Griffin originally was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings in the 4th round. So at least in terms of picks and size, it all makes sense. And Everson Griffin now is one of the premier edge rushers in the NFL. Looking at D tackles, we got Gerald McCoy, who was selected in the 1st round by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bonafide stud when he was coming out. This is the 2nd overall D tackle overall for the draft. So, we didn't modify other ones, so we Sue number 1 would go to Dominic and Sue. So I'm rewarding myself by drafting the 2nd best defensive tackle by giving me Gerald McCoy, who's an absolute monster. And true story, we were Facebook friends at one point, way back in the day. That's a cool little tidbit. We left the outside linebacker as is, because, that's a pretty baller name, Tremaine Profit. Plus, there's no really good outside linebackers that match his height weight. Same goes with our 77 overall corner. Really bad draft class in terms of cornerbacks. Outside of Joe Hayden, who doesn't fit his scheme, you had really, Devin McCourty, who's a converted safety. Alteron Verner's a Pro Bowler. Other than that, wasn't a lot of big names that could be had. I think undrafted, you had Sam Shields, not a height weight, kind of fit there. So we're just going to leave him as is and kind of reap the rewards of a solid draft. So we don't really have an option here at QB yet. Mark Balger's going to need to retain the job. He almost got 30 touchdowns last year, plus we added him some help at wide receiver. And we know, next year's draft, 2011 draft, Cam Newton. You got, let's see, who do you got? You got Cam Newton. You have other quarterbacks like Andy Dalton, Tyrod Taylor. If we need to call in Kaepernick, are we going to go down that rabbit hole? We'll have to wait and find out. So that being said, we still have the entirety of the 2010 season ahead of us. So let's see what we... All right, so here we are at season's end, and we're just going to start here. This is our QB. This is our Cam Newton, if we can pull him. Look at this. This is how scouting used to work. Oh, used to be good. And then you'll see at the draft, I'll probably include a little bit of draft for some nostalgia. Madden, outside of not being able to fully edit these players, Madden 10 was probably my favorite Madden of all time. I have to say, but I mean, debatable. What's a hot take? There's been a couple good ones. But look at that, we made the playoffs in 1 year. Old Mark Bulger getting the job done. All those young rookies being able to come up and make very impressive starts to the season. So we'll start with said Mark Bulger. Look at that. 3,700 yards, 31 TDs to 16 picks for the season vet. I will absolutely take that every single year. Running the ball, look at that. 1,700 yards, 8 TDs for Steven Jackson. Manimal. Receiving, we got 73 catches, 877, and 10 from our first round pick, Demaryius Thomas. LJ Smith, big signing for free agency. Former Philadelphia Eagle legend, 800 yards and 5 TDs. We got some good production here from Laurent Robinson. And on defense, James Zornice, 138 tackles, 13 tackle for loss. He is a machine. 12.5 sacks from Chris Long, 10.5 from our rookie Everson Griffin. We got 4 from Gerald McCoy, and we got 6 picks, James Butler, 5 Otagwe, 4 for Bradley Fletcher, 3 for Laurinaitis, 3 for Witherspoon. So our defense came to play. So we're looking to build upon this. So we're going up against the 9-6-1 Eagles. We are just going to sim that game and see what happens from there, as we will just try our best to play in the third and final year to let the sim do its job. And we got bounced from the Philadelphia Eagles, but we finished 9-7. I wasn't expecting anything, and I guess Mark Bulger's success this year doesn't kind of back us outright into a corner that we have to draft a quarterback right away. But we got some decent money to spend in free agency if a big name is to become available. And we know this roster we have right now is only going to get better, especially with those rookies for our big final year 3. So let's jump into the offseason and get it done. Here was another really good feature, and that is signing coordinators. Not as good as NCAA's coaching carousel, but, you know, much like where I showed you guys a little bit of the draft. Another trip down nostalgia for how good and how much more expansive franchise mode can be. Look at these bonuses. Certain guys will give you additional bonuses by having Carmichael as our OC, which is a feature that's just not available in Madden 18. We get +5 to our QB awareness. Certainly, it is overpowered. There's not really that great ones right now for OCs, so that's why we're going to go for him and offer him the gig, and he got it on. But, I mean, looking at our current stat list, we got +5 from him. Spagnolo, just old Spags from that Jim Johnson Eagles, that +5 for everything. We got +5 for our OC. Oh, DC Meeks, we got +5s. We got Ron Rivera here as a DC as well. Why not? Dave Taub from the Chiefs. I mean, it's just crazy. Add this feature back. What are you doing, Matt? Stop being so bare bones. So looking at free agency for our final, you were able to land this 82 overall tight end who I had on my draft short list. I don't know why he got released. I assumed he was on a 1-year deal, and he turned out to be an absolute stud. Didn't pick up the stats because I want to try to make him Gronk, but still 82, good enough to start. We're able to bring back Alex Barron for free agency signing numero 2. I think we got a corner, Josh Wilson, 86 overall, to give him an absurd amount of money because he wanted to go to a winner, but it's our final year, and I just need that little bit of an edge here at the cornerback spot. Former Seattle Seahawk, I believe. So we're doing some decent business. Hopefully, we can hit on the draft and get the job done in year 3. All right, here's the last little throwback here as we check to see what players are worth being drafted. These are the guys that we have scouted, and look, you get the little attribute map that really does help you out. I'm not gonna lie, it is pretty overpowered when you think about it. I mean, looking at who's still here, I know this Belchin guy, we already drafted a QB, we took a flyer on a guy. We didn't even scout, but, you know, trying to find out who might be all right. Harris looks pretty good. I mean, that guy there, you know, he's a run block. Maybe he's slipping a right tackle pass. His strength is good. His footwork is terrible for run blocking. You know, I think Joe Smith here might be our best option. 7th round, doesn't really matter. I'm not going to lie. We'll probably end up drafting both of those guys. We just quickly try to finish out this draft here and see what we can do. Because we just need to see if we can hit on a tackle that we could potentially swing out there. So we drafted Joe Smith. We'll go Harris, who looked pretty decent. Maybe give some depth between OJ Otagwe. And then the 6th round, we'll grab that other tackle if he's still available. And then we'll get a quick look at it. Is German still there? There we go. We can draft Andrew German. That's our draft class. But man, those little mapping things, you know, some people, myself included, think Madden 18 drafting is fairly overpowered. But when you get that map, it was pretty easy as well. I can't really remember a time it was difficult to draft, to be honest. But I guess if they made the drafting too difficult, the dirty, filthy casuals that play Madden would just give up and totally skip it altogether. Alright, so look at our draft prospects. Not as good as year one. You saw, like, we got Harris here, 74, a potential, but I mean, for a long term, we have 1 year left. We're not going to worry about modifying him into anything. One of our corners was a 66. Ew, one of our middle linebackers ever was a 76. Couldn't find anyone whose size kind of lined up with it. Maybe Mason Foster. I was thinking KJ Wright, but KJ Wright's a little bit bigger. But in the third round, we got probably the player that I'm going to put in the thumbnail. In the third round, we got Julio Jones from Alabama. He was a wide receiver from Boston College, you know, 6'4", get that Julio Jones size. Third round. Like, when I was scouting him, I was like, this guy is going to be the #1 player. Then when I saw the draft board, it was in the third, it was a third, fourth round pick. This is what Madden needs to get back to. I want to be able to draft 84 superstars in the fourth round, the third round. But now we have Julio Jones pairing him with Demaryius Thomas. Maybe that's enough weapons that Mark Bulger can continue to be serviceable. And because it's year 3, if we can crack the playoffs, I'm personally going to take over, get some of that vintage, throwback, nostalgic gameplay. But we need to get there. There's our quarterback we took in the first round. Terrible, but it all makes up for it because we got Julio Jones. 98 speed? Not 98 speed. Okay, just making sure. Just wanted to double check that real quick. So as we get ready for our Super Bowl or bust, to give it a term, final season, we got Mark Bulger at QB. Mother of God, how have we not been able to find... The free agency has been horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. For running back, we got Steven Jackson, who's been a monster. He's a 93. Wide receiver, we got Demaryius Thomas, Julio Jones, Donnie Avery, Laurent Robinson. All these guys have been able to make plays for us, but I'm very interested to see how Julio and Demaryius get on. That's just OP. 6'4", 97, 98. Oh, it's sick. We got an 82 tight end here. Offensive line's looking decent. Alex Barron's an 80. At left guard, we got 87, Jacob Bell. Center's a 93. Right guard, 81. Right tackle, 94. That is a good enough offensive line to get us back into the playoffs. Jason Smith, oh, what could have been. On the defensive side, we got Everson Griffin still here with a 79 overall. Didn't develop particularly well, but Chris Long's up to an 86. And at D tackle, we have Adam Carricker, 87. And Gerald McCoy at an 83. Look at the outside linebacker. Old man Witherspoon's holding on. Laurinaitis, who's been probably our MVP on the defensive side of the ball through our first 2 years, up to an 87. And we have Profit here, our 6th round draft pick, at an 80. Very nice pick. At secondary, we have Josh Wilson, 86, Bartell, 83, and Kiner, an 80. So that, you know, again, serviceable, not overly spectacular. But when you add the fact we have a 90 free safety and an 82, James Buckley, who had 6 picks a year ago. Pretty good secondary. Like, this is a very good team. From the 1-15 Rams to what we've been able to build them to now, I'm pretty goddamn proud. So what we're going to do is sim all the way to the end of the season. Hopefully we get some playoff football. Let's do it. Alright, I had to re-edit it because I let out a massive F-bomb. We found out 97 we didn't make the playoffs, which is very, very disappointing. Oh, god damn it, man. What happened throughout this year? Like, you gotta understand, I do 3 years so that just so I don't have to spend 900 hours a day. Like a full 5-year rebuild like we do for the realistic rebuilds is a lot of effort, but oh, I want to see what happens. I mean, look at the stats here. Mark Bulger, that's respectable. 3,600 yards, 35 TDs, 19 picks is a little high. 1,800 yards, 5 touchdowns from Steven Jackson. We got 946 and 11 from Demaryius. 789 and 12 here from our tight end. Julio did not do so hot. 540 and 1. Even though Mark Bulger's a stud. 165 tackles from James Laurinaitis. 18 tackles. Man, what a baller, man. Everson Griffin, 13.5 sacks. 8 for Gerald McCoy. We got 5 picks. Josh Wilson, who was our big money signing in free agency. 4 for Sinalu Harris. Our, I don't know what round. 6th round pick. 5th round pick. 4 for Otagwe. I mean, I don't understand what happened here, team. I don't want to leave on that. Let's just at least, we can have a throwback and see who was the league leader in all these stats, I guess. How about that? How does that make everyone feel? I guess that's I guess all I could say too before. No, we'll wrap it up. We'll look at the stats first. So, Drew Brees led the league 4,800 passing yards. Look at the TDs. 45 for Brady, 44 for Rodgers, 43 for Breeze, 41 for Manning, 40 for Rivers, and there you go. This is a big surprise. 40 and 16 for Jay Cutler, 35 and 14 for Kerry Collins. The worst arm strength I've ever seen, and balls are coming in at 8. I like to see that. As far as rushing is concerned, Michael, this is the year. This is the year. Michael Turner still gives me nightmares. Almost 2,000 yards. Oh my God, Michael Turner. We're not even gonna talk about that. That is the most overpowered running back that no one talks about in Madden history. As far as receiving, 121, 1,700 for Reggie Wayne. 19 TDs for Greg Jennings. Put the team on his back though. 17 TDs for Kenny Britt, who recently, I think, didn't the Patriots just re-sign him after the Browns cut him? It's pretty odd. No one really surprised Ochocinco when he went by that. Look at Bernard Berrien. There's a name I haven't heard in quite some time. As far as defense is concerned, Willis led the league 176 tackles, 18 sacks from Luis Castillo. Everybody. Luis Castillo. Tyson Jackson, 16. Jared Allen, legend, 15. Leonard Little. Oh, I wish we re-signed him. But look at our boy Everson Griffin coming at number 7. For picks, 7 for LaRon Landry, the biggest arms in the business, and 7 for Dante Hittner. Tenard Jackson was 5. Oh, it's still annoying we didn't make it. Like, I wish, I'm almost debating going longer, but we'll get some feedback here. Like I said, I feel like 3 years. It's just like, it's a good pace, a quick little change up. Not gonna, like a realistic rebuild. I know a lot of you guys wait for it every Friday. And it's something that's a big time commitment. But I feel like for these ones and the 12 rebuilds of Christmas, just give you a little bit of something, some throwbacks, maybe something interesting, and then get you on with your day. But I will say, if there's any other team in particular from Madden 10, because this was a really fun Madden to play, that you want to see me rebuild outside of the St. Louis Rams, let me know in the comment section below. But thank you for tuning in for, I think this is day 4 of the 12 rebuilds of Christmas. As always, rebuilds every day, all the way up to Christmas. I'm trying to use this maybe a little bit of a blitz to try to help the sub count for LC4 here, getting ready for the new year. So if you guys like this content and your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit the subscribe button. Share the video around on social media and stuff like that. I very much do appreciate it. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.